China's Communist Party is holding a major policy meeting as trade tensions with the United States rise. Washington is threatening to further increase tariffs on Chinese imports. Beijing has hit back with new fees on U.S. ships arriving at Chinese ports and tighter export controls.
A couple hours away from new U.S. government port fees kicking in for Chinese-made freight vessels. But importers are already grappling with additional levies rolled out on Friday, which could put the new tariff rate as high as 270%.
Now, the other set of tariffs that is hitting the pockets of the businesses is the fees on port entry fees for Chinese-made vessels and Chinese-built cranes at the U.S. ports.
Something strange is happening at America's ports, and almost nobody is paying attention. Overnight, Chinese ships are being slammed with massive new fees that can stack into the millions with a single visit. On paper, it looks like a hit to foreign companies. But behind the scenes, these charges begin to ripple through the entire supply chain. Shipping costs rise, factories panic, and the final price tag lands where it always does, on the everyday shopper. Soon, furniture, electronics, and even basic household items could jump higher than anyone expects. This isn't just about ships. It's about every store shelf in the country slowly changing. And if this keeps going, we might be looking at one of the biggest price spikes in years. So the real question is, how much are people willing to pay before they finally notice what's happening? The tariffs hitting China's ships. Something big is happening at America's ports, and most people have no idea what it really means. Over the last few months, the United States has hit Chinese shipping with some of the largest tariff increases ever seen. These aren't small penalties. They stack on top of each other like bricks, creating what experts are calling a quintuple tariff hit. And the numbers are heavy. First, we have new tariffs on certain imported goods like timber, kitchen cabinets, and furniture. Those rates range from 10% to 25% right now, but reports say they're going even higher next year. Furniture is expected to jump to around 30%, while cabinet costs could climb all the way up to 50%. For anyone trying to build a home or buy new furniture, that's going to sting. But the real shock is happening at the ports. The United States added huge fees on ships that are Chinese made or Chinese owned, and these charges activate every time the ship arrives. For some of the biggest vessels in the world, one single trip into an American port could lead to more than $16 million in fees. Multiply that over several dockings per year, and the total cost becomes massive. It doesn't stop there. The cranes used at ports to move containers are also getting hit. Most of these cranes are built in China, and now they face a steep new tariff, up to 150%, and in some cases even reaching 270%. That means equipment that ports depend on every single day just became extremely expensive to buy and maintain. Right now, shipping companies are trying to absorb these costs quietly. They're hoping to avoid raising prices too early and losing business. But everyone in the industry knows that costs this high don't disappear. They travel through the entire supply chain, and eventually they land somewhere very familiar: the consumer's wallet. How US stores and brands get squeezed. When people hear about tariffs and port fees, they often think it's something that only affects giant companies or foreign ships. But the truth is, these costs don't just stay at the port. They slowly begin to move through the economy like a wave, and sooner or later, they reach the shelves of your favorite stores. Big retail chains like Walmart and Target have already warned that these new tariffs will push prices higher. They don't want to raise prices because customers shop around and compare costs. But when fees stack up over and over again, even the biggest brands can only hold back for so long. Every box, every shipment, and every product becomes a little more expensive each time it touches the supply chain. At first, companies tried a quick trick. They front-loaded their orders. That means they rushed to bring in a ton of products before the tariffs kicked in. Because of that, prices didn't jump right away. Shelves were still full of goods bought at cheaper rates. But those older supplies won't last forever. As soon as new orders arrive with the updated fees added on, the price tags will reflect it. This is especially worrying as we head into shopping seasons. Holidays, birthdays, school sales, they all depend on affordable goods. Items like furniture, kitchen pieces, and home building materials could see the biggest increases. Even small price bumps feel painful when every store shelf is affected. Experts say that eventually most of these tariff costs end up on the consumer, not the importer. One report claims around half of the burden will land in the shopper's hands. That means ordinary families may pay more without even knowing why. The price spike doesn't blame the port. It doesn't come with a warning label. It just appears on the checkout screen. For now, brands are trying to hide the impact and keep customers happy. But behind the scenes, pressure is building, and while American stores fight to stay stable, China has already started fighting back. China strikes back. China wasn't just going to sit quietly while the United States raised prices on their ships and port equipment. Almost right away, Chinese officials began hinting that they might answer with their own set of rules. And when China answers, the effects can spread across the world. One of the first things China did was slow down the movement of certain American products entering their ports. It didn't look like a big deal at first, but it was a message. Slowed shipments mean less money for American companies that depend on quick sales. Industries like farming, cars, and electronics felt the pressure the most. Then China started talking about raising tariffs on goods that come from states where farming is a huge business. If that happens, American farmers could struggle to sell crops like soybeans, corn, and beef. And when farmers lose money, the problem spreads to trucking companies, grocery stores, and restaurants. It turns into a chain reaction, but things get even more complicated. Some reports claim China has reached out to other countries, offering deals on shipping and trade. If those deals become real, the United States could lose business at their own ports. Other nations might choose cheaper shipping routes, leaving American ports with fewer ships and less income. These plans haven't been confirmed, but rumors like these make companies nervous. China also has a powerful tool that many people forget about: rare earth minerals. These minerals are used in phones, computers, and even electric cars. China controls a huge share of the world's supply. Officials haven't pulled that lever yet, but the threat alone makes tech companies pay very close attention. Online, many users are already speculating that China might cut off certain exports or slow production on purpose. Nothing like that is proven, but just the possibility causes fear in markets. Businesses hate surprises, and China knows that. So now, both countries are watching each other closely, waiting for the next move. Tariffs at the port were just the beginning, and what might come next could shift global trade in ways we haven't seen in decades. The supply chain shakeup. With tariffs rising and pressure growing at American ports, companies across the United States are being forced to rethink how they do business. For years, brands depended on China for fast manufacturing and cheap shipping. Now, that plan is starting to change, and the shift could reshape the global market. One of the first moves many businesses are considering is relocating their factories. Countries like Vietnam, India, and Mexico are becoming popular options. They offer cheaper labor and easier trade deals, and most importantly, fewer tariff problems. Some experts say we are entering a new era of China Plus One, a strategy where companies keep some production in China, but spread the rest across other countries just in case more trouble comes. But moving factories isn't simple. It can take years to build new plants, train workers, and set up shipping systems. That means companies might still rely on China for a long time, even if they don't want to. During this slow shift, prices will likely stay higher as brands deal with extra costs and confusion. At the same time, American ports are worried about losing business. If fewer ships decide to dock in the United States, port workers could face layoffs, and shipping companies might move their routes somewhere else. That would be a major blow to coastal cities that depend on trade for jobs and tax money. Meanwhile, China is racing to improve its own ports and shipping deals with other nations. If they create cheaper trade paths, they could pull more business away from American ports. Some reports suggest that China is offering special deals to attract companies feeling stressed by US tariffs. Nothing is confirmed, but the idea has many warehouse owners and shipping workers on edge. Beyond that, tech companies are nervous too. Many phones, laptops, and car parts still come from Chinese factories. If companies scramble to switch suppliers, delays could pile up, and the price of electronics might spike. All of this leads to a bigger question. What happens next? With both sides taking bold steps, the world's trading system is getting pushed into unknown territory, and the ripple effect may just be getting started. Conclusion: the new tariffs on Chinese ships and port equipment may look like simple fees, but their impact reaches far beyond the docks. They raise shipping costs, push prices higher in American stores, and spark even bigger reactions from China. As both sides respond, companies are being forced to rethink how and where they do business. Some are already moving factories, while others are stuck waiting and paying more. Workers, farmers, and shoppers all feel the pressure in different ways. At the same time, rumors of new trade deals and supply changes keep everyone on edge. No one knows which move will come next, or how far this trade fight will spread. What started as a few extra charges at the port could reshape global trade for years. And as these changes unfold, one question becomes clear: just how much will everyday people end up paying for this economic battle?